Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and welcome to This Week in WoW for the week of March 11th. Before we get started, let's go ahead and shout out the Patreon supporters. We got Mario Casillas, Rep Pally Rocks, Nick Rada, and Peter Burnham. Thank you guys so much for that continued support. And now, let's hop in and talk about what's going on in-game for this particular week. Let's run through some of the more, stuff that's on the calendar, I guess you'd say. So the Calendar Cup ended. I gave you guys some heads up to do that if you wanted to. Liberation of Endermine, Raid Finder, Wing 2. So believe it or not, the Raid Finder is the most done, the most participated in form of the raid. And so if you are one of those people, the second wing is now open, so you can kind of keep up with the Race to World first. Obviously, it's been cleared on normal and heroic, but kind of keeping up there on the Raid Finder releases with the Mythic. We also have PvP Brawl Temple of Hotmugu, and we have Timewalking for Pandaria going on as well. So those are kind of the calendar things. We also, at the very end of the week, do have Ungoro Madness. Not much to do there unless they added something to it. Some of these mini holidays, some of the holidays, they've been randomly adding stuff to it. So it's possible. I wouldn't suppose that's going to happen, but it is possible that they have added something to it. So now let's get into more of like the broader things that are going on in the game. So first of all, this past week I have played a ton of World of Warcraft. I'm not a Mythic Plus player, so this means this is like a lot coming from me. So I have a 2354 score with a 5 Priory on the board here. So like easily could be close to 2500 score on the first week, which is, for me, is crazy. Just so many dungeons. I got a full vault coming. Speaking of a full vault, I will be renewing the Ret Paladin vault opening videos on Tuesdays, at least at the beginning of the season, like always. And I have a nice full vault to look into there. I've been playing a ton of World of Warcraft, so that's just like the overlying theme here. So what did we do this past week? So the past week, the raid opened up, Mythic Plus opened up, the delving season opened up, and I've unironically been having fun doing all 3 of those things randomly, including delves, which is not so much. And like I said, Mythic Plus isn't my main thing, but I've been having a blast doing it this particular week, especially with the nerfs, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So the raid, a little bit more difficult than what people were predicting it would be, first of all. So we have heroic get cleared, of course, but not cleared by a ton of guilds, including mine. Now we normally do maybe 1 or 2 extra days the first week because we cleared normal as well. And we just raid 3 hours at a time. So we cleared normal. We got to the one-armed bandit on our second raid night, and then we killed one-armed bandit on the extra night and got really good prog on Muggsy, but we didn't do any other nights. They actually might do a night, I record this on Monday, they might do a raid tonight that I can't go to, so maybe they get Muggsy down, but we did not get AOTC first week, which sometimes we do. Not always, but sometimes we do get AOTC first week. So the raid's a little bit harder than normal. Race to World first is a little bit slower than normal as well. They got stuck on the 4th boss, and the bosses are a little bit chosen order, like you can choose which boss to go to, but got stuck on the 4th boss a little bit there during the Race to World first. So the raid's a little bit more difficult. Now, of course, we have the automatic nerfing of the raid via the renown system, just like we had the newer bar finery nerf in the last raid. So it's going to get easier. We're going to get tons more item level, like 20 more item level than what they currently have. So it's going to get nerfed over time in that way, and a lot of these bosses are nerfable that way, just by having more damage, more health, more healing. So it might not end up being an issue, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that on the channel as we go ahead to make sure that this raid isn't too ultra difficult, like Sepulcher level difficult. Of course, we could also get nerfs to bosses that alleviate that as well. When it comes to Mythic Plus, I was having a blast doing it, and while having a blast doing it, literally while in keys, they nerfed things tremendously. So some of the things were not fair. A lot of them were tank mechanics. Some of them were just mechanics that were really, really brutal, to be honest. And some of those were nerfed. Some of them just were kind of like annoying or a little bit hard, and they got nerfed as well in many dungeons. And of course, the big just 10% flat nerf to everything. I did a video covering this a little bit more extensively. If this is the first you're hearing of that, you can check that out. But just huge nerfs to Mythic Plus dungeons, and really was actually just, it has made the beginning of the season really, really fun. And Like I have a whole theory on why that might be. Like they want people to have fun at the beginning of the season, realizing that no matter what they do, people are going to be bored after like 3 months of doing it, and only the most very hardcore people are still going to be doing it. So while everyone's playing, just let them have fun. I think that's like a little bit part of it there. But I've been having a ton of fun, and the dungeons themselves are pretty fun. There's a lot of big pull dungeons, which is typically the thing that people like the most. Like, oh, okay, I can do a really big pull here. And those are typically the dungeons that are loved and the dungeon seasons that are loved. If we look really, really quickly at the dungeons, if I can even figure out how to do it, apparently, at the dungeon pool, Dark Flame Craft, Cinderbrew has gigantic pulls, Priory has gigantic pulls, Rookery has gigantic pulls, Floodgate has gigantic pulls, Theater Pain, not so much, Operation Mechagon, not too much giant pulls, Motherlode, you can do giant pulls. And so a majority of these dungeons, you can do giant pulls. I think that is what's leading to a lot of the fun people are having with this dungeon season, because it's been pretty overwhelmingly positive. I think that's a big part of it. Quickly, let's talk about delves as well. The other thing we did this past week with the opening of delves. These new tank brand is OP, right? Pretty clearly, but it makes delves so much more fun. I'm not constantly thinking I'm going to get meleeed and die. I am able to actually just kind of like perform in the delve. Sometimes Brand dies, and then I have to, step up my game a little bit. Absolutely having a blast with delves. I'm trying to unlock all the curios and actually play with all the curios. I'm going to do an update guide for the delve video, the delve guide for Rep Paladins that I did, saying which curios I view as the best for this season. I did not know we were resetting curios. I thought we were keeping curios, and then like a couple were getting added. Like 2 curios of each type were getting added or something like that. I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I thought. So I'm going to be updating that as soon as I unlock them all and actually play with them all. I'm almost there, I think, but I've been trying. I've done a ton of delves as well as Mythic Plus. I've done a ton of delves. I did tier 11 delves, no deaths, got that achievement already. I tried the new boss on double question mark. That was a no-go. I did not have the gear to pull that off, unfortunately. So yeah, this particular week, as we go, we're kind of looking back at last week. This particular week, you're just kind of gearing up for more things. Maybe some tuning coming on reset. Perhaps it'll be after this video comes out, of course, but maybe some tuning coming out on reset. Probably not a ton of class tuning while people are like doing the beginning of the season, but could be a little bit of tuning on the edges, tuning some things out. Rep Paladin, extremely fun in keys, good enough in raid and fun enough in raid, but extremely fun in keys, honestly. And I got to see some Rep Paladins playing with the 4-set bonus and basically having like permanent uptime with their Divine Hammer, which is amazing. Just constantly having the hammer spin around you, especially in Mythic Plus. It was really, really cool to see that. So I'm looking forward to getting some set pieces and stuff as well. I haven't got very much gear yet, unfortunately. Just very bad luck with gear. I did get a decent weapon, but I haven't got very great gear upgrades yet. So I'm still pretty low eye level, and I haven't got a lot of pieces. But just having an absolute blast. And so not too much to look forward to this week on terms of like knowing what's going to happen. We're kind of just looking for tuning. We're kind of looking for these things. You can do the time walking. That could be fun as well. With your new talents or abilities, depending on what spec you play and all that kind of stuff. You could go through there and maybe have fun doing that. Of course, you get great vault loot from doing that as well. On the dungeon track, if you are, someone not really doing Mythic Plus dungeons. So you can do that this week, but just a ton of fun last week. I hope this week's as much fun. If every week of World of Warcraft were as fun as this past week, this would still be to the broad. It is to me already, but to the broader audience, this would still be like one of the best games ever. Or currently, it is one of the best games ever. One of the best games currently to a more broader audience. If it was always like this, I don't know how they could possibly pull that off, because that would require a crazy amount of content. But it's just so much fun that very first week, doing all these dungeons, doing the new raid, doing the delves even. Like I said, the delves have been fun, believe it or not. For someone like me, right? When you think of Mythic Raider, you don't think, oh, I bet he's having a lot of fun in delves. Well, I am. So that's where I'm at. So we'll call this one at an end here. I could just gush forever about this patch. Hopefully more news coming out, and we'll try to keep you updated with that. I did two news things. There was a thing with corruption as well, I tied it into the Mythic Plus nerf video. So I kind of did 2 news stories in one there. I'm just trying to find time to even do anything like that, honestly. So, yeah. Hopefully everyone else is having as much fun as me. I know it's not always the same. Mythic Plus isn't always the same. Like, I'm doing it mostly with a guild group. I did do a couple of pugs, but mostly with guild groups. So that's a lot different than having to pug everything yourself. But I hope everyone else is having fun. I hope everyone else is enjoying the raid. The theme, of course, of the raid is amazing. And yeah, I this is a great patch. This is definitely a memorable patch for me, as far as just having fun at the beginning of it and just wanting to play World of Warcraft. Be like, man, I actually just kind of want to do a Priory of Scion Key just to get my score up, and I never feel that way. So, yeah, we'll call it the end here. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing helps me out the most. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. I plan on doing more Patreon content. I got a new phone, so I'm able to like take non-greeny pictures and non-greeny video. And I just got the Patreon app and loaded it on. So I'm hoping to do some more stuff on there. I don't know what exactly, but I am hoping to do some stuff like just quick thought videos, things like that, and put that on there. So check that out if you like. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.